classic. Oh, hi. On today's episode, we're reviewing the first issue of Before Watchmen, the comedian. Oh, I know what you're thinking. For the opening sketch, I should pretend to be a comedian, tell a few jokes. Of course, then the trolls would jump all over me and start snarking about how my humor is forced and that I shouldn't try to be funny. Like I haven't heard that in the last 2 years. I do nothing but try and improve my show, but all you people do is try and tear me down. I've made mistakes, sure, but do I deserve your ridicule, your scorn? No! No, that's all on you. In fact, why don't you people just kiss my... According to my producers, I'm very sorry for my outburst. And now the real opening of this show. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Side? Enjoy the show. Isn't it wonderful how we're able to joke with one another? Hi everyone and welcome back to Comic Book Issues. I'm your host, the Last Angry Geek. Without a doubt, one of the most important characters in Watchmen is the comedian. The vigilante's death is what propels the entire story forward. However, Edward Blake is not a nice man. We see him commit murder, attempted rape, and he generally comes off as a pretty nasty piece of work. So is it possible to make a monster into a hero? That's the question of this miniseries. Join me as I take a look at Before Watchmen, the comedian, #1. In a small bungalow scattered among bottles of pills, Edward Blake, the comedian, picks up a signed baseball that reads, "Love always, Joe." From there, we flash back to the comedian playing football with the Kennedy brothers. Let me just say that we have nothing to fear but unnecessary prequels to already successful stories itself. Ich bin ein Alan Moore fan. I am not a crook. He mauls through the president and his brothers, but it's all in good fun. Later, John's wife, Jackie, serves the comedian a drink. He calls her baby, and she reprimands him. That's not what you call the wife of a man you love. Eddie denies that he loves JFK, but she's not buying it. She flirts with him, but he won't have it. Again, because he loves, or respects, in his words, her husband. She then propositions him in a different sense. She's upset about a certain blonde who cavorts with a gangster and might accidentally spill some of JFK's secrets. We cut back to the comedian, now dressed, as he caresses a now dead blonde before leaving with her baseball. Our hero, everyone. Later at a bar, Eddie gets a call from the Kennedys and they shoot the breeze over a football game that's currently being played. They make plans to meet on Friday. At the airport, Blake is intercepted by the FBI who ask him to help out on a case. Something that's beneath him, but he agrees to do it anyway. With the promise of good press, the FBI agents drive Eddie to take on his old enemy, Moloch the Mystic, who's left prostitution behind and is now dealing drugs. Why would anyone pay to have sex with Moloch? Rather than keep things quiet, Eddie slams his foot down on the gas, sending the agent's car crashing into Moloch's building. A massive shootout ensues, with the comedian making his way up to Moloch's office. However, he's surprised to find Moloch crying. He weakly tells the comedian that the president has been shot. As the details come over the airwaves, the fight goes out of Eddie. He gets a bottle from Moloch's desk and starts drinking. He plays a hunch and asks Moloch if he's actually dealing drugs. The Mystic just laughs at the idea, knowing the comedian has been misled. As hero and villain watch, the announcement is made. President Kennedy is dead. This was easily the darkest first issue to date from any of the Before Watchmen miniseries. Although I'm guessing Rorschach will give it a run for its money. I have to say my expectations for this book were low. The comedian has always been, in my mind, a despicable character. An amoral psychopath given a gun and a badge by a corrupt system. To tie him into the 20th century's most beloved president is a bold move. But did it pay off? Let's take a closer look at issue #1. The Comedian is written by Brian Azzarello, best known for his run on Superman with Jim Lee, and drawn by J.G. Jones, who I previously covered in my But Is It Art episode. Jones is a terrific artist who excels at covers. Here he's doing the interior art as well, and he handles it well. His take on the Kennedys is fairly accurate, but my big problem here is the story. I get that this is an alternate universe, but it almost seems like character assassination to put these people with the comedian, who, as I've mentioned, is an amoral scumbag. Were the Kennedys perfect? No. Do I believe Jackie O would put out a hit on Marilyn Monroe? No. Do I think JFK, Robert, and Ted Kennedy are going to be playing touch football with a psychopathic killing machine who's suddenly their new best friend? Hell no. My biggest problem is that the comedian only makes a few appearances in the original Watchmen. Most noticeably, he remorselessly kills a woman pregnant with his child and attempts to rape Sally Jupiter. Every time we see this guy, he's doing something horrible. This issue almost comes off as an attempt to redeem him. It's like saying, yeah, he was bad, but at least he felt bad when John F. Kennedy was shot. But by placing the comedian with the Kennedys, it places them in a bad light, tainting the legend that was 1960s Camelot. I don't like this character, but honestly, I was never supposed to, and this attempt to make me sympathetic to him just fails. The only thing I did like, and saying I liked it was a stretch, but I will admit it made sense, was him and Moloch bonding over JFK's death. It's a suitable nod to the original story when it's to Moloch Eddie goes to confess about the part he's played in the coming disasters of that book. So here, we get a taste of two sworn enemies having a moment that just might explain why Eddie went to him in his moment of need. Simply put, he didn't have anywhere else to go. Hey, the art is top-notch, but this almost feels like an attempt to retroactively redeem the comedian. As if to say, well, he's not all bad. But yes, the comedian is all bad. This title feels like it's trying to redeem him, and he's never been a character who needed redeeming. I give Before Watchmen, the comedian, issue 1, 1.5 out of 5 stars. In all honesty, I'd just skip this miniseries, folks. We'll be back next week with the first issue of Before Watchmen, Night Owl. Until then, I'm the Last Angry Geek, and this is Comic Book Issues.